Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. Oh hi! I didn't see you there. Well, you just caught me gaming. But how could this be? I don't see any wires or TVs anywhere. Well, actually, it's called AAA's, idiot.
Handheld gaming's been around for a surprisingly long time, and it's been kinda successful. Even today, when Nintendo's tried to destroy the barrier between handheld and console, the dedicated market is more vibrant than ever.
But why would so many people want these when the Switch is everyone's dream come true? And the Steam Deck is the dream come true of everyone who isn't everyone? Well, I believe it's because handheld gaming was never meant to be a subsidiary to console gaming. And you never really know how much you miss something until it's gone. Let's consider the first ever major success in handheld gaming, the Game & Watch. The creator, Gunpei Yokoi, recounts the story of inspiration.
When he saw a man on the bus playing with his calculator out of boredom. And that's when he had the brilliant idea to put a giant tablet playing Breath of the Wild in his hand so he'd never have to interact with another human being ever again.
Obviously not. The Game & Watches he would go on to create were simple to pick up and put down high score-based games. Now, society may have evolved from the wrist game, but I think we're so focused on bigger and better that we don't always consider that bigger isn't always better.
AAA games are going to be best experienced on a big TV or a nice monitor where you can get fully immersed. And then, if you get kicked off the TV, you can take it back to your room, which is very convenient.
If I try to play Breath of the Wild on a bus, I'm either going to have a compromised experience, or I'm going to miss my stop. And then I'm going to get mugged, and then I'm going to lose my Switch.
Smaller, more bite-sized games are more appropriate in on-the-go situations.
But oh ho 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 ho, now we got him. This raving lunatic clearly has no idea what a phone is. We got him caught in 4K. But not so fast. We're gamers, not gamers. And we like buttons.
And ever since famous micro-celebrity Steve Jobs sealed these up in case your entire life literally goes down the toilet, so maybe you can salvage your toilet water phone.
I mean, whatever happened to days when our controllers were literally a phone, instead of our controllers literally being a phone? But we do have a pretty sick gaming PC in our pockets at all times. And there are some ways to get buttons. You can haul a full-size controller around. Or you can get a smaller one like this that's at least easier to carry around. But all the weight's in the phone, and it can be kind of cumbersome to handle without any grips.
Alternatively, you can get these Joy-Con-like controllers, and these do seem to work pretty well, though it is still somewhat obtuse looking.
I personally own the worst option of all, the Smart Boy. In concept, it's pretty neat, the buttons all work pretty well, and I can even play real Game Boy cartridges. But it is a pain to use.
It cuts off half the phone screen, making it very difficult to navigate the apps you need to use. Plus, it doesn't fit over phone cases.
And I think this thing is fatter than a real Game Boy.
I wanna be a real boy!
And like its counterparts, it kills one of the phone's strongest features, pocketability. Have you taken the pocket test?
That's right. If you can't fit in the pocket of a woman's skinny jeans, you're fat. Take that, man.
Pockets can vary widely in size, but for this test, let's go with your typical jeans pocket. Bonus points if they fit in a slim coat pocket. Back to the granddad of them all, Game & Watches are nice. Slim certainly has the style, so give this one a 10 out of 10. Once you get into interchangeable cartridges, this is devalued a lot. Brick, 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 weird brick. Eventually, Nintendo released the Game Boy Pocket. And from this point on, their handhelds are pretty compact. The original Game Boy Advance isn't ideal, but then... oh, perfection! The Game Boy Advance SP and Game Boy Micro are exquisitely designed. Welcome the clamshell, which was originally available in some Game & Watches.
Look at me, I'm clamshell gaming. That being said, Game Boy and Game Boy Color cartridges are gonna stick out like a tumor on these things. And these are just not comfortable to hold with big hands.
Then we got to the DS, which looks like it was still in a prototype phase. And finally, the DS Lite was released, which is a little bulky for a pocket, but it works.
My original DS fell out of my pocket one time while I was at McDonald's tying my shoe. It landed on the tile floor right on the power button and broke it so I could never turn it on again. So I can't say I recommend pocketing these. And Nintendo agreed. And that's why at the next redesign, the DS wasn't pocketable at all.
Introducing the XL DS trend. Bigger screens are nice, especially if you aren't taking it anywhere. And it's entirely optional, so I won't complain. Then the 3DS, once again, did not make it past the prototype phase. XL, toast, remake the DS Lite design. Why is my hinge like this? Why are these so damn expensive? Why do you want me to jailbreak this and risk breaking my priceless artifact? And XL and XL.
And all Switches fail, though the Switch Lite is so close. And I also skipped over the PSP.
The original is pocketable, though do it at your own risk. These things aren't that durable. And the PSP Go, that gets a 10. This is the ultimate pocket console. The slide control is excellent for making it more compact, it's stylish, and it absorbs fingerprints and scratches like crazy. The Vita seems fine, but I really don't like sticking traditional analog sticks in my pocket, so I'm just afraid I'll wreck them.
Well, I suppose I am just delaying the inevitable.
Circle pads seem more appropriate. But should we accept that? When making devices more compact, sacrifices have to be made. Phones have giant screens but no buttons, unless you get the PSP phone, but no one would be caught dead with a slide phone in the current year.
Previously mentioned circle pads aren't as comfortable and precise as traditional analog sticks, but neither are these. Now, other buttons are usually fine as long as they aren't cheap, but shoulder buttons can get tricky in a compact design.
Using a claw hand is not comfortable for long play sessions, and stacked shoulder buttons can get pretty cramped.
Doesn't mean you can't go all the way of going smaller, but wider tends to be more comfortable than taller. But who cares? Handheld gaming's about no compromises. That's why we ditched the walls. Let's go all the way. You rang.
Screw the pocket test. It'd be easier hauling a PS2 around. All you need is a case and an extra battery pack and maybe an extra controller just in case, and what do you know? You're gonna want to have a backpack or purse with you if you don't want to leave it in the car. Easy enough if you already carry one around at school, but even with that, a Steam Deck is probably pushing it, giving it all the room you need for books and binders.
And again, are you really gonna have meaningful time to invest in your AAA games? You stupid kids! Now, there are a couple alternatives that I'm more privy to. And given that I'm a doctor, you can take my opinion as fact. There are a lot of third-party emulation handhelds out there with varying degrees of quality.
Given that these are mostly aimed at adult enthusiasts, build quality should be a high priority, which unfortunately isn't the easiest proposition for small businesses and DIY projects. And to invest quite a bit into a device with no proprietary software is a hard sell.
So what's the move? Well, behold, the Raspberry Pi! I wish I had one, but the chip shortage is still decimating the market. Check out my previous lesson for more about that. Anyway, the Raspberry Pi Zero 2 is the size of a saltine cracker and can play Metal Gear Solid. When I plug the cracker into the wall, all it does is catch fire, which I suppose is also kind of cool.
But with a DIY kit with case and battery, we can make this a handheld console that can play all the emulators the other third-party handhelds can. And you have full control of its operating system. It can natively run any software designed for the ARM version of Linux, as long as it's powerful enough. Now, this is surprisingly limited in general.
There just aren't many big titles built to run on ARM processors, despite how common they are. But there is one saving grace. This thing can run Steam Link. All the indie 2D games right in the palm of your hand. Kind of weird it took this long. Now, I can't personally test this out myself to say that it runs flawlessly, but give it a few years of technological advancement and I can certainly see this being an uncompromised experience. Otherwise, you could always go the jailbreaking route.
Take the PSP Go. Beautiful design. It's got a nice big screen, it's pretty compact, and the buttons are pretty good. It's probably the best compact handheld design out there. Just make sure you have a screen protector. But, now that the PSP store is closed, this thing's a paperweight. You can't play physical copies of games. And that's the exact condition I bought it in 2023. Why? Well, this thing can natively run PSP and PS1 games. That's two consoles that most smaller devices still struggle with. And with a very simple jailbreaking process, you can have full access to those libraries. Toss in emulators for the NES, Super NES, Genesis, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance, and you have a pretty insane game library right in your pocket. But it isn't perfect. The Super Nintendo emulator never got quite fully optimized, and that may never be fixed. Most focus has moved on to emulation on the PlayStation Vita, which I think is a little bigger than we need. In addition, while it does have 16 gigabytes of storage on board, which is pretty good, PSP and PS1 games will fill that up pretty quickly, and its proprietary memory cards are very expensive secondhand. And to be clear, they are different than regular PSP or Vita cards. There is a hardware mod you can do though for enabling microSD if you're willing to commit.
On the Nintendo side of things, you can mod a 3DS. It's super easy. But like I stated earlier, these aren't very cheap. And to brick one would be much more unfortunate than bricking a PSP Go that might as well be bricked anyway. But this is the definitive way to play 3DS and DS games. And the new 3DSs can emulate SNES and most of the other easier Nintendo consoles. Even some Nintendo 64. All that in one convenient package is pretty intriguing, if only mine hadn't gone limp.
Also, Nintendo still kind of supports this. They just released a new update in the last month, so you do have to worry that a new update could brick your jailbroken console.
Otherwise, size, form factor aren't super slim, but practical nonetheless. If you want to play DS and 3DS games, you aren't going to do better than this.
And now, the antithesis of everything I proposed so far.
Oh my goodness!
Shout out to the engineers of this project. Project Q, the device everyone says is stupid. Or is it?
If it costs more than $100, then yes.
Project Q is a streaming tablet that, from early impressions, works exclusively with a PS5 and only supports Wi-Fi. But...
Never play this again!
AAA games are going to be best experienced on a big TV, or a nice monitor where you can get fully immersed. And then, if you get kicked off the TV, you can take it back to your room.
I could take a dump while playing this.
Now the PS5 can...
Spider-Man Miles Morales?
That's on PS4.
Call of Duty Vanguard?
That's on PS4.
Demon Souls?
That's on PS3.
Cyberpunk 2077?
You don't want to play that.
theoretically better in a Steam Deck, and definitely better in a Switch. And 1 terabyte Steam Deck should cost more than a PS5 Digital Edition and a Project Q combined. Hopefully. And if you don't need to be on the same Wi-Fi, you can just turn on your mobile hotspot and realistically burn a hole in your data plan. Now, the Wii U wasn't an inherently bad idea. The problem was it was forced on us.
Like the Wii U, this looks like it would be very comfortable to use. You could also just use your phone like I mentioned earlier. This thing's really big.
Please don't tell anyone how I live my life.
So what do you think? Oh, the door's in the way. You must have missed the entire discussion. Oh well, I'm sure you're intelligent enough to have come to the same conclusion I did. Now, let me help you with those. There, that's better. Well, that's all for today. I've been Dr. Nick, and I'll see y'all on the gamer trail. Look at me, I'm Clamshell Gaming. Oh shit. Clamshell Gaming goes wrong.
You want me to jailbreak this and risk brisk? Oh.
This cracker tastes like tape.